This is the more educated black women are, the more likely she will to get a divorce. Um, Statistically, that's true. Unfortunately, we can't walk away from the statistics, but I think the high level conversation comes in when we start to break down why that is. And a lot of and Trigger Mike addressed it in the when he started talking about the success rate of women who become educated. So again, this goes back to that you kids are raised in a single mother household. So a lot of the times we're raising our kids, women and our daughters in particular, we're raising them to value. What's up, guys? Back again, Mike here, and we're looking for 1,000 subs. Let's go ahead and jump right into the conversation. The Lapeef experience is where we're at.
Why it's kind of weird when women will say, well, black men just don't like. Black men saw they're more agreeable than the average man to a woman being independent, to a woman being educated, to a woman having a job, so on and so forth. This actually lies on the woman's end. I said in one of my shorts that education was supposed to make you a
I'm starting to think this is the preview because we just jump right in and he's just going off. So
greater asset to your family.
I got challenged by one of our old panelists, and one of his concerns was, well, the more educated black women are, the more likely that they will get a divorce. And so my argument with that was partially right, because I remember reading back in the day that if there's an uneven, like for example, there were reasons for that. We'll get into that, like the in-depth part later on. But there were reasons for that. But then when I went to look for my research that I had found with him, my prior research before having a conversation with him, I came across that education for women used to be protection. Basically, if you were educated, you had a higher chance of your relationship lasting longer. But now Pew Research ended up doing a study, and it suggests that is true for white men, but not for minority men. And when they said minority men, they were specific about Hispanic men and also black men. The same did not hold true. But just blindly, I kind of dug a little deeper into it. So I kind of have a few of the things that came up with, but just off of what you think. Why do you think that is?
Anybody? You know, I'm long-winded, so.
Yeah, I think that black
men. If you want to go anytime. Good.
Yeah, I think that black men like to be the man, and they want their woman to be submissive, so to speak. And they like being the leader, the head of the household.
How's that different from any man of any race?
And I mean, obviously in Christianity world, the man is the head of the household, but for minority men, black men in particular, they like to be the man and to feel like they're the man and to feel respected and have their woman be submissive in all that entails. And so when that is not so much the case sometimes with independent women, because independent women have more of an opinion and sometimes want to be treated as equal, and they want you to help partake in the cooking and the cleaning and things of that nature because they're doing the same thing career-wise as the men are doing.
Well, okay. That's a small minority. I've already did a video where we broke down the demographics of men and women and income, and the short of it is that most women don't have careers. Most women have jobs. And they're not making the same thing that the men are. They actually make less. Even with all the degrees and everything else, most average men is still out earning the average woman across the board.
So I don't know. I think white men in particular, when they're in college, I think they're looking for a wife. And black men on the opposite end of the spectrum, quite honestly. I don't think black men are looking for a wife, someone to go ahead and marry in college. Whereas when I look at my white counterparts who are in college, many times by the time they're graduating, they've got a ring on their finger and they're engaged. they're married in their early 20s, 21, 22. And, obviously it's become a little bit later sometimes as of now, but Black men, that's never been the case.
Okay. So I do have
So
some
much
opposing
discuss
views
there.
to that. I do. So I want everybody to understand something about Black men in general, something that gets missed in the sauce on this conversation. 70% of Black men alive today were raised by a single mother. That means they saw an independent woman working for herself, some of them going to school, becoming nurses and other professions that women tend to partake in. So that makes, if you didn't realize, that's the highest rate of single motherhood in the world, not in the United States. That makes the Black American man the most agreeable man to an independent woman in the world. Most of the things that women want to do, they will agree to. They will be the most agreeable in the world because they saw their own mother, the woman that they love most in the world, do it. So that's why it's kind of weird when women will say, well, Black men just don't like. Black men saw they're more agreeable than the average man to a woman being independent, to a woman being educated, to a woman having a job, so on and so forth. This actually lies on the woman's end. I said in one of my shorts that education was supposed to make you a greater asset to your family and not used as a dagger against your man to tell him how much you don't need him. Facts. That is the difference between what's going on in the white community. Traditionally, everyone knows that even if you are going to be an educated woman, you need to be marriageable and you need to be an asset, right? The goals are different. That's what it's really about. If I'm an asset.
I'm glad he addressed that I'm glad he said that because that addresses the issue that Tan was talking about as far as Black men wanting marriage. Well, if the women that you're surrounded by, it doesn't matter. This is why we don't care about women, about their level of education or how much money they make. Are you a functioning adult, meaning that you can take care of yourself? Okay, great. That's the extent that we care about that. And as long as you're not selling your sexuality, right? But that's why we don't care about that stuff, because you still need to have skills that are going to be beneficial to a family. This is why, and to be honest here, like most women have degrees that are not going to be, let me back up. I'll say that for the summary.
To this family, we grow quicker. We buy bigger homes. We raise better children. That's the overall outlook and like the prime directive of both people being educated. Most men do not give. I mean, y'all really mischaracterize us. We don't give a damn about our woman being educated because most men are actually married to their educational equivalent. If I got a degree, she got a degree. If I got so we don't care at all.
Mike, just a quick question.
You're on mute.
So I want to table that thought. I'm not interrupting. I'm sorry. I'm gonna let you talk, but I do want you to come back to that question. Okay. So I want to say that because y'all know I got ADD and I forget. I want to go back to your equivalent. Okay. So I just put that out there. But go ahead.
Okay. But yeah, I just feel like most men, especially Black men, are agreeable to a woman being educated. It's just the way it's used in our society. It has nothing to do with the man and his agreeableness or, hey, I want to be the man of the house or trying to dumb you down. That's not the way men work, especially in this society. As we can see, most women are educated. They got a bunch of college debt. They bring that into the relationship.
I'm glad he said that.
And men don't care. They want to get with them anyway. It is probably a product of women, the outlook of themselves, the way they see themselves in the relationship. And unfortunately, what I could pinpoint that is to, they think it automatically gives them the license to renegotiate gender roles. And women changing so much did not realize that you achieving the same thing as a man doesn't give you license to ask me to change. That's because the answer is no. It's not that American men say no. Men across the world are like, no, I won't change. You see what I'm saying? So that's my answer.
Well, my question, Mike, could that be to the detriment, us being agreeable, be to the detriment of the community? Because if we're always saying yes, go ahead, could it be us not putting our foot down and not taking a stand that leads to some of the issues in the community?
Absolutely.
It absolutely is the detriment to the community in general. So you'll hear me on plenty of platforms. The way I talk, some people think like my marriage don't go well or something because I'm so, hard about certain things in the way my relationship should be run. And the weird part about it is that the women don't respect men because we're too agreeable. The funny thing about men that we talked about assertive communication on one of the King Talks, foreign men, African men, Asian men, Middle Eastern men, these are very assertive communicators. This is the only way they know how to communicate. And the one thing people don't realize is in the West, we are very passive and passive aggressive communicators. Oh yeah, just do it, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, or we have that passive aggressive juvenile type of communication going on. Women leave those type of men and they stay with the assertive men. The men that gives them a hard no. We're not doing this way. We're going to wait. When you communicate with women like that on a consistent basis, they don't leave you. They learn how to deal with it. Especially if you're a reasonable man. They'll be like, well, he'll come around. That's what he said. So I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to figure out another way to talk to him. Women stay with men like that. So it's absolutely to the detriment of the community that black men are way too agreeable.
So you don't think that you can be an assertive communicator and also at the same time be, I don't want to say agreeable, but basically you can be assertive but still work together as a team?
That's why I said the word reasonable, because if you definitely have to, a husband is supposed to be an assertive communicator. Mm-hmm. When women talk about leadership, right, you will listen to an assertive communicator. A lot of people that witness my relationship up close would be like, wow, man, your dad must have really did a number on you. I said, well, or they'll compliment my wife for the way, she's submissive and she does all this, but you can't walk over a dude like me. You'd be put out of my house. It's the way I was raised. If you challenge me too much, I want out of the relationship. You weren't raised correctly, right? I'm a reasonable man. You bring me anything, we can go to it in counsel. As long as you understand when I have serious pushback, there's a reason for it. And you don't always have to agree with it because let's say it's something about discipline. That's my God-given gift. You can't outrule me on discipline, right?
100%. I actually, Trigger Mike summed it up, but there are some talking points that we do need to address. Let's see if we can change some stuff over here. And yeah, white balance is still off on this. Oh man, got to get rid of that. Let's see. There we go. Nah, I'm not recording this again. Let's just go ahead and do it because, yeah, brightness is off on the camera. But the couple things that Tan that she did mention that we do need to address. One of them I mentioned already is that yes, she felt like black men are not looking for wives in college. I disagree. For the most part, most average men want marriage. They want a woman who, they want one woman that they can start building with. The problem is that in our community, because we have an epidemic of women of single mother households, women who are raised not to trust men, not to depend on men, that's very off-putting. So it's like you don't have, so the relationship skills are not being, your relationship muscles are not being exercised. And we're raising our kids to do this from birth because they look at it and because, well, my mom is a single mom and she's doing it all. So now guess what her kids are going to do? Yeah. See, we got to do a better job of raising our kids so that so that we're teaching them to work in cooperation with one another. That's one of the social constructs that's broken in our community that's preventing us from actually starting to rebuild it, right? There's some other ones in there. I mean, the vetting process, the concept of marriage itself, a couple of other ones too. And they are required for us. They're going to be a requirement for us to update going forward before we can start to build a community again. We have to get some kind of understanding and from both sides so we can move forward. This is why I say high level conversation. This is what I'm talking about. And we got one here. The title of this is the more educated black women are, the more likely she will to get a divorce. statistically, that's true. Unfortunately, we can't walk away from the statistics, but I think the high level conversation comes in when we start to break down why that is. And Trigger Mike addressed it in the when he started talking about the success rate of women who become educated. So again, it goes back to that you kids are raised in a single mother household. So a lot of the times we're raising our kids, women and our daughters in particular, we're raising them to value the things that men have traditionally done, and we're teaching them that this is why this is what men want, and this is what's going to make you successful in a relationship. This is what's going to make you valuable in a marriage. But again, we know on this side of the camera that that's not true. Okay, because men don't value ambition, career, all that stuff in most women. Now, the exception is what Trigger Mike also mentioned, the fact that, yeah, if you can bring that in as an asset to the man and what he has going on, then that's something to work with. But most women are not raised to do that. Most women in our community are being taught that when you get these things, when you get a career and you make a lot of money, when you have a high level of education, that's going to make you equal to the man, and he's going to, and you guys are going to be a power couple. Well, we know those don't work, right? Reality doesn't work like that. Long-term marriages don't work like that. You can only have one breadwinner. Okay? Somebody's got to be able to take care of the household. And it should also be noted that being the breadwinner doesn't make you head of the household. We spend too much time. It's another part about raising our sons and daughters right, is that we keep teaching them that being the breadwinner makes you the head of the household. And that's not true. You want a prime example? How many relationship channels, relationship coaches, dating coaches are teaching you to lead with your wallet? Next to none. But that's exactly in reality, that's how we're raising our kids, right? We're teaching them that go make a bunch of money and you can dictate the terms of your relationship. No, I'm sorry, but leadership skills make you head of the household, not money. Because your resources can dry up, but most women will still expect you to be the leader. It doesn't matter how much money you're making. It matters is that you are, it matters as leadership skills. This is why I always say, men, we need to lead with the dime, right? So discipline, integrity, morals, and ethics. See, if you outrank your woman in all four of those categories, then they're going to be less inclined to care about how much money you're making. Because again, we throw around this word hypergamy as if it's related to money. I'm sorry to tell you guys, but the definition does not include money. It's a social construct of women dating up socioeconomically, which if you're leading with the dime and you outrank your woman in all four of those categories, she can still be hypergamous. She still can respect you, right? So this is why I say, we got to do a better job of raising our kids. We spend too much time focused on income and not enough time focused on building a family. Is income important? Yes, you do need it, but it's not required as much as you guys think it is to build wealth. This is why I say men and women, we need each other. Women need men and men need women. But look, I'm not going to sit here and go on a rant for too long. This is a great conversation. Usually get that from She Critique. Like I said, the ladies do a great job of running this show. But yeah, I'm going to say goes to the next time. Peace.